Ledger don't care. Yeah. Cryptocurrency, crypto. ICO. FOMO.
Sure.
Lightning
Rolling.
Network to the
You
moon.
rolling?
Go. Here's my Lambo. Here you go.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Dennett with the Money Badge.
All right. Hey, I'm Pat Dugan.
So you're coming in from Chile.
Yeah, that's right. It's a low-cost base, good place to do R&D with some smart people.
How's the wine down there?
Yeah, it's not bad. I drink more of the Pisco, but the last time I did, it made me sick, so I had to cool it.
So wait, where are you from in Chile?
Well, actually, I'm an American. I grew up in Virginia, and I moved down to South America years ago to do video games. Lived in Argentina for a while.
Yeah.
And then I did Startup Chile. That's what got me to hop the fence.
Startup Chile.
Yeah, that's like a program. They give money out to startups. That was in 2012,
No kidding.
a long time ago, yeah.
So you got funded to move to Chile.
Yeah, it's better than what most people get coming here, right?
That's pretty awesome.
HB1 visa with employment deal maybe is close to
So
that.
they gave you a visa,
Yeah.
and on top of that, you got money to start your own company.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that was before I got into Bitcoin. It was doing organic food. My margins were terrible. And I went out to Argentina to do payroll. I got robbed at gunpoint. I only had Bitcoin. I sold it on local Bitcoins, and then I realized...
They didn't rob you for your Bitcoin.
Well, they didn't know.
Yeah.
So the problem is in the future when they might know. And then, where's
your seed?
Yeah, so then you got to give them at least something, right? So that's another conversation.
But anyways, you got robbed in Argentina?
Yeah.
But you lived in Chile, or you moved to Chile.
Yeah, after that. Well, I was in Argentina during the capital controls in 2014, and then I moved back in 2015.
And now the Chilean government gave you funding to help start a business there.
No, this business funding, doing this R&D for extending Bitcoin, Litecoin, etc., that all came from my altcoin gains, basically. So I had a big role on ADA. And a couple other ones, and
so
obviously Bitcoin and Litecoin as well. But
the government still funding startups to help them?
Yes, amazingly that program is ongoing.
What's it called?
Startup Chile. I think they're in
Startup Chile.
Yeah, they're on round 18. I was round 4, so they do 2 a year or something like that.
And like it's a reasonable amount you can get.
Yeah, it's like $40,000.
That's a start.
Yeah, and they give you, so part of that is like you get to live, and part of that is they reimburse your invoices for paying people as contractors. So yeah, I mean, it's a decent program, and it's done some things for the country to help diversify it.
Sure. How's the tech scene there?
Well, like 5 years ago when I was in the program, I couldn't find good talent. So this year, or last year rather, when I put this team together, I managed to find a math PhD and a few programmers who were active either in Corfo stuff, which is the Startup Chile kind of parent organization that does these fundings, or with just crypto meetups, and so they managed to stoke this secondary interest in educational cultivation where you could actually put together a good team.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We're a little pressed for time here. So
Absolutely.
Let's keep this moving. So exactly what are you doing in Chile?
Okay, so we're decentralizing Tether. I believe that being able to have peg currency or hedge currency on chain as a layer property is really important for cryptocurrency.
Whoa, back up.
So we back that up with derivatives.
Wait, you're going too quick there. Let me
Yeah.
catch this. So are you doing your own currency, cryptocurrency? Are you doing someone else's coin? You're trying to make a stable coin? What?
Okay, so we're gonna have
how explain it to a how would you explain this to a kid?
So the first ICO was for this thing called Mastercoin, right? And the reason that when they did the first ICO, they justified the token.
When they or you?
I was not involved in the ICO. I got involved in the project in 2014 after they got the funding.
So this is its own token or coin.
Yeah, so Omni is what it's called now. I forked off of that. I ran that project in 15, 16, and then it became all about Tether. So I took it in a different direction where you have this graph-based peer-to-peer derivatives clearing. And what I wanted to get across is that, like, yes, we're creating a new money supply. Our founder reward for doing it's based on volume. It's going to be less than 5%. But we're not just inflating here. And I think this is like a new kind of money to add on to a chain. It gives it new functionality. But we're also going to put this algo out to the Lightning Network community and help anybody who's trying to make a DEX on Lightning Network have the same functionality.
So
yeah, let's break it down.
A little too quick.
Yeah. I just you said we're pressed for time.
Is this a stable coin? What is it?
Ultimately, yeah, the goal is to have the people who are short without leverage creating dollar coins that are backed by crypto and backed by the derivative.
When you say a dollar coin, you mean a coin that is stable based on being linked to a USD, or what?
Yeah, like every block, you'll be able to see that the coins are backed by addresses with a certain amount of cryptocurrency and a certain amount of dollar-denominated hedging contracts.
So long term, this would be a transitioning coin to help people sort of transition from the fiat to the crypto world?
Well, that's more like GUSD or USDC or whatever Circle's doing, where it's in the banking system. This would be where you would park your money, and you don't want to speculate on commodity prices. You want to get some kind of yield.
So if I'm going to park my money, why don't we just put it in Bitcoin?
Well, you might want to have a diversified portfolio that isn't all long, right? So
can I go short Bitcoin with this?
You could also take leverage and go short, yeah.
But I mean, wouldn't you just want to do some USD and some Bitcoin to kind of leverage out there or balance out?
Right, but what's the USD based on? What does it pay you? So if it's based in a bank, it's not going to pay you much. If it's based on a derivative, the market has a premium in the derivative or in the swaps. There's like a funding rate. So you can receive that rate. It's a much higher yield. So I think for a broader
what kind
audience,
of rates are people getting here?
So like on BitMEX last year, it was like 80%.
80%?
Right, yeah. This year it's probably lower on BitMEX, right?
This would be a really good time for us to remind our viewers, we are not financial advisors.
Yeah.
We're just discussing and chatting.
That was in the bull market. So the underlying asset did multiple hundreds of %. And therefore, people were willing to pay 60 to 80% over 2017.
How's it going now during the crypto
Now
winter?
there are negative funding events, and you get more of a mixed bag, right? So I'm going to try to improve on that formula by having the unleveraged dollar holders, or the synthetic dollar holders, have a zero bound, so they can't have negative funding.
So when you're saying synthetic derivatives, where'd you learn all this stuff?
Oh man, it's all from experience. I've been trading.
You're a gamer, huh?
Yeah, well, I've been trading for 10 years, but I tend to look at derivatives and finance as just system design, you know? So it's an extension of the same kind of modeling I used to do.
Modeling? What were you doing modeling for?
I was working in the Bay Area once in 2011 doing social games.
So you're not a Goldman Sachs dude?
No. I'm all about. I mean, I am wearing a jacket, but that's more to front, you know, and try to meet people in the middle. Okay. But no, I'm definitely like I loved the Litecoin Summit because it was like real dudes and ladies also, people from different walks of life who are just happy to have some capital gains, who are optimistic about the future, and who maybe some a little countercultural. You know, I dig that, right?
So what made you interested in all this?
Well, when I got robbed, I realized that you don't really own your money, and then as I started trading Bitcoin, it was more about transferring funds than speculation. I was trading OTC and stuff like that, and I very quickly realized that this is a really great sort of collateral basis for money movement. And I was using it as my personal bank. I was using Bitfinex in 2014, right? So Bitfinex got hacked. With DEXs, you don't have custodial risk. And then I've been working on things like.
But if you have, if you have Bitcoin and you're cold storage, you don't have custodian risk.
Well, you do if you get robbed, right? So somebody can shake you down, and that's like a life or death decision. So the only way to
But you
scale.
don't know your seed, do you?
No, but I mean, you have something written down or whatever. I mean, for my personal OPSEC, I don't hold a lot of coins at home, guys, so don't come after me.
I'm broke, so that works.
Yeah, I mean, if this is going to scale, if proof-of-work blockchains are going to scale to hundreds of millions of people, I think that there needs to be on-chain space on different chains.
Yeah.
I think that there's going to be like a market for where the money flows. I think that people are going to need to be able to dollar denominate or euro denominate, etc., assets to some extent in order to save, in order to have a payment mechanism. And it's better if that is a native payment mechanism. And then you're going to have the crypto, the Bitcoin purists, right, who are going to want Lightning Network, and they don't want any new money supply, and they don't care about dollars. And to that I say, okay, God bless you, HODL 100% long.
What?
It's fine. We're going to add functionality on Lightning Network, so if you want to dollarize to trade on Lightning Network, there will be some swap rate over there as well, and there's going to be different market competition.
The Lightning Network on Litecoin, you're not talking about Bitcoin Lightning Network.
Well, so the way that like the way trade layer is ultimately going to work, or the way Lightning Network is going to ultimately work, is they're going to be blockchain agnostic by default, right? So the Lightning Network has its own ledger, that is composed of a lot of lockups of UTXOs on Litecoin, Bitcoin, etc.
Yeah.
So with TradeLayer, we'll be able to have that kind of economy on the Bitcoin chain and the Litecoin chain with layer properties instead of Lightning ledger entries.
Like, how many transactions are you seeing happen in a second or a minute? I mean, what's your...
So, all right, the limitations, like we did the stacks
Yeah.
on Bitcoin, right, in
And then we gotta wrap it
2017.
up.
It's very expensive, and you can only get a few 100,000 TX a day on Bitcoin realistically, right? With Litecoin, you can get up to 1 million, and it'll be cheap for a little while then. So that's nice about Litecoin. And we want to do that. We want to get 1 million TX a day trade settlements on Litecoin.
Okay.
To make it more extensible,
Yeah.
we're working with Tendermint. Jay Quant's paper in 2014 is another pivotal science contribution I think people should look at. We're not basing on his Cosmos ecosystem. It might be interoperable, but you'll have these side chains for order matching.
Yeah.
And then later when the blocks are full, you'll be able, instead of doing on-chain trades and marking in, okay, I want this side chain to control my matches,
Yeah.
and you can get the fast matching. No, you want to just save the money. So you do one voucher transaction, you move, whatever, $1,000 over to the side chain, you trade there for a month, you do, 100,000 trades with an algo, whatever you want, and then you redeem it, and it's only 2 on-chain transactions.
Okay, I'm
so there's
sorry,
going to be
we're,
like a free market in fees and how much people want to be on-chain versus off-chain.
Okay.
It's going to be nuanced, it's going to be
Where
like
should
commodities,
people
man.
go to get more information on this?
Yeah, come to tradelayer.org and at TradeLayer on Twitter. We're about to start our testnet. We want people to come around to the testnet.
What was your name again?
Oh yeah, my name is Patrick Dugan.
Should they follow you on Telegram?
Yeah, they can follow me on Twitter also at Duganist is my Twitter.
How do you spell that?
Duganist.
Great. Well,
Like,
thank you
yeah.
very much. Good luck. Have a safe flight back to Chile.
Oh, I appreciate
All right,
that.
take care.
I'm going to need the luck, mate. Flying Air Mexico.
Take care. Hey, I'm Dennett. We're here at the Blockchain Economic Forum. I found a fan, or someone that I'm a fan of. He has his own product. So why don't you tell me a little bit about this project you're working on?
Okay. Well, I'm Reggie Middleton, and I'm working on the Veritasium suite of products. It's a suite of services and products that are basically designed to bring upon the peer-to-peer capital markets. What I mean by peer-to-peer capital markets, it allows Peter to do business directly with Paul, Paul to do business directly with Suzanne, Suzanne to do business directly with Jin Yang. All over the world, frictionless, without an authoritative third party. Okay, this entails products such as our VADR, which stands for Veritasium's Autonomous Distributed Interactive Research. Basically, it's research done by hand by 5 professionals, and they find worthwhile digital assets and digital asset opportunities, such as ICOs, hard assets or real-world assets brought onto the blockchain, platform tokens, etc. They value them, get a high valuation, low valuation, median, and the VADR purchases these assets upon that recommendation, right? Goes out into the decentralized world, purchases these assets, creates a model portfolio, and then allows other people to put their capital in and replicate that portfolio. So basically the VADR is a smart contract driven fund, for use of a lack of a better word, that allows anybody to take advantage of it with a minimum, I think, maybe $20 or $30.
Could you just define to you what is a smart contract and how does it work on your platform?
Okay. Well, in its simplest essence, a smart contract is computer code that does a conditional computer code. So if X is true, then Y. If not, then Z. Okay. We can layer this, if X, then Y, if not, then Z, and start with all the way at the beginning of the alphabet with A, B, C, D. Of course, the tech guys understand that the new distributed ledger technology platforms are full Turing, so they can get very, very complicated. We string these together to replicate the business processes of target industries. The first one is low-hanging fruit. That's the financial industry and the banking industry. We call it low-hanging fruit because it's easy to disintermediate them. Basically, the employees get paid too much. So if you offer similar services, right, at a very low price, they can't compete because they have to pay between 30 and 60% of their money, their gross revenues, to pay their employees. Smart contracts don't need azimut yachts at the end of the year. They don't need to buy Lamborghinis, and they don't need to buy their third or fourth vacation house. There are no bonuses to be paid out. So this very, very low cost is used to have a more egalitarian, a much lower cost financial system.
But there's a couple regulatory hurdles that you're going to have to clear. Is that correct? And has that been your biggest obstacle right now?
It all depends on the product. For something as advanced as the Vader, there is a regulatory, it's not so much a hurdle. We consider the Vader software. And the reason is because it's software, just like Microsoft Excel.
It would be software,
right?
Yeah.
The Vader is built upon a distributed ledger technology platform that allows you to escrow capital. Not only does it allow you to escrow capital, it allows you to transfer capital very inefficiently without obeying geopolitical boundaries. And the escrow ability allows you to quadruplicate ownership of capital. So the law of the land in both the UK, with the law cost of equity in the US, is really based in ownership and possession. Usually, in the old school way, if I hold this mic in my hand, I possess it. Okay? The only difference between ownership, possession, control, and custody is someone can own something. You can own this mic, which I think you do, but I possess it. Using our technology on the correct platform, such as the Ethereum platform, we can separate not only ownership and possession, but ownership, which is him, possession, which is me, control, which is the guy in the suit there, and custody, which is the other guy in the suit. So once you start separating and mixing and matching ownership, possession, custody, and control, you throw the current legal system into a tailspin. Okay, and you throw the Luddites, which is maybe not the most complimentary term, but it is very descriptive. The Luddites who don't understand the ability to quadruplicate what used to just be a uniform or binary paradigm. Now that we quadruplicate it, their lack of understanding leads them to call it a scam or a bubble, etc. What it is a new way of doing things.
Let me see if I have this right. So you have software, which is a new tool, a new way of doing things, utilizing software. The software exists today.
Right now.
And what you're doing is extremely disruptive because it simplifies existing processes which require the third trusted party and also require different entities, and you're replacing them through a combination of distributed ledgers but also through smart contracts. The smart contracts essentially automate what a lot of what's been manually done through a separate entity, and it also does it in a much more efficient way. So you're going to lower the cost, and you probably do it a lot quicker and cheaper through the use of software as opposed to having a physical third party doing it. But you're also having sort of a new way to view things. I mean, even what the use case and ownership, I mean, you're looking at some really fundamental ways of being able to approach it from a different paradigm. Is that kind of right?
That is right. And when I say, or when you say lower costs, we don't mean a 10% discount. Dramatically lower costs. 60% cheaper, 70%, 80%, 90, 95% cheaper. Dramatically lower costs. At the same time, full built-in audit trail in everything that you do. So dramatically more transparent and dramatically safer. When we don't custody the assets are almost impossible, right, to steal, as compared to centralized systems, JP Morgan, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Awesome. I want to know, what's your biggest hurdle? What's the biggest roadblock you have right now?
I'm going to make two questions out of that, though. So the biggest is understanding, getting both the old school legacy system to understand the qualities and the capabilities of the new paradigm, okay? And they resist because they're trained, number one, that the legacy system is the only way to do things, and number two, they're also trained that this new paradigm is fraught with fraud, it's the bubble, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I have so many people, and I was just at I just did a presentation in front of some investors a few days ago in New York, and they refused to understand the concept of a token. Because it was a token, it's bad. And they said, the blockchain is good, the token is bad. I tried to explain to them that you honestly, with all due respect, don't know what you're talking about. That's like saying cars are good, engines are bad. Well, you need an engine to make the car work. You need a token or unit of account to make the blockchain work.
So would you define a token as just a unit of account? How it, in the simplest terms, for someone that's not fully up to speed on cryptos, how would you define a token?
Okay. Well, there are two ways to go. You could go the technological route and the macro route. The simple way is the token is the unit of account that is used to either provide compensation or to provide the widget within the blockchain to keep count of what happens during transactions.
So it's a measuring unit.
A measuring unit, okay, or a cog in the wheel, okay, or a cog in the machine. The issue is the negative publicity that tokens have received has caused everybody to attempt to become professionals or experts in this field and not understand what it was. For anybody who says, I'm pro-blockchain, but I'm anti-token, is basically talking out of both sides of their mouths. You could be anti-DLT, but you can't be anti one part of the DLT and want the DLT. That's called
distributed ledger technology. Let me verify the term you're using there.
Okay. Yes. So let me tone this down because I've been around a lot of tech eggs. So let's go back to regular English. Don't say I love cars, but I don't like engines, unless you like to sit in a car that doesn't move. That's basically what it is. This token technology, or the technology behind the token and what makes it work, is phenomenal. One of our other products, we've tokenized gold through the Veda. In the back end of the Veda, you could click buttons and you could tokenize everything. So we've tokenized gold, and I started paying it to my subcontractors and to employees. That tokenized gold is basically gold money, okay? We've also created what we call a stable token. The issue with tokens, and one of the reasons why a lot of people are negative on the tokens, because they have a lot of volatility. We've created a token that has more stability than a euro-US dollar forex pair, which means that if you're exchanging euros for US dollars, you're taking more risk than you are in holding our token. This token is backed by a basket of commodities, hard commodities that come out of Africa. They could be redeemed for the commodities at any given time. Now, having countries such as Zimbabwe or Venezuela to be able to use a token that is more stable than the euro, and it can always be redeemed for its core constituent basket, is a very, very powerful idea. This super stable token could be sent with a smartphone from one person to another in seconds at any time, crossing any border. This is a very, very powerful concept, not to mention technology, very powerful concept. And we are going, I'm personally going to Africa, and I'm going to South America, and I will introduce this stability into the system myself using our own capital. So this is a combination of finance, economics, and technology to bring the paradigm, the new paradigm shift to fore to people who need it.
When you say it's backed, what I believe you're saying is actually you're backed by mathematics, and then you're also linking it to a physical asset in addition to the mathematics?
Okay. So the mathematics are engaged in the cryptography of the creation of the token. The backing is pure physical, right? There are 4 or 5 or 6 metals. I'm not going to give the exact combo because that's proprietary. They are backed by the token 100%. So I purchased the metals, okay? Let's say these are the metals. Let's say that's a gold alloy with a bunch of metals that come out of African mining veins, okay? This is really the Veritasium token represented as a business card, contact info on the back. So we issue this token in digital form or physical form. It's backed by, let's say it's issued for $100,000, okay? It's backed by $100,000 worth of metals in a secure vault, right? Insured and backed by security in a very well-known location. And you can trade that, and these metals have more stability than the euro-US dollar pair. If anybody doubts it, let's suppose we have a bunch of smartasses who say, we're going to drive the price of this token down. They drive the token down 50%. If you drive the token down 50%, then a smart speculator such as me comes up, we buy the tokens, and we simply redeem them for the metals. That's like buying gold 50 cents on a dollar. Now, if everybody in this hall, and there's about 120 people in the hall, if everybody in this hall saw me buying gold at 50 cents on a dollar, what do? They rush in and want to buy it too. The more people that buy it, the more upward pressure goes on the price until it hits 100 cents on a dollar. Then there's no use buying it because if you buy it, you're not making money. Let's take the inverse. Let's say it shoots up 200%. Okay? What do? I sell it at 200%, and I simply buy the metals back, and I'm simply now selling the token for much more than its composite components. The more that you sell, the more downward pressure goes until it hits the 100% mark.
Yeah.
Greed, aka market forces, aka economics, aka human behavior, human nature, keeps that token in a very, very narrow range. That narrow range is the value of its components, constituency. That's how it is more stable than the Euro-US dollar pair in an oversimplified perspective. There's volatility, etc., clashes, correlations, but that's nerdy stuff.
Well, from what I understand, what you're working on is really a game changer. It can really improve the world, making transactions a lot more efficient, smoother, simpler, and more secure all at the same time. So I want to thank you, and I want to wish you the best of luck on what you're doing. Any final words?
Just because you don't understand something, does it make it wrong, does it make it bad, and does it make it a scam? It makes it something you don't understand. Learn from primary sources, okay? Fact check, simply do math. Simple math, not advanced stuff, okay? That's how I learn. I think that's how everybody should learn.
So we are a nonprofit show, so what's a couple nonprofit resources where people can go to learn?
You could go to the Veritasium.com site to learn about our products. Wikipedia is relatively good because of the fact that it's very difficult to have a very, very one-sided opinion on it. My YouTube channel, Google Reggie Middleton YouTube channel. I have hundreds or thousands of hours worth of very educational video. Boom Bust blog, which is the blog that I used to write. If you go through and look at the historical articles, you can see not only my opinion, but the analysis behind the opinion. I'm known for calling Bear Stearns 6 months before they collapsed, Lehman Brothers, General Growth Properties, Washington Mutual, the European sovereign debt crisis, the fall of BlackBerry, the rise of Google, iPhones, etc. So whenever you have a so-called expert, make sure you always mark their opinion in the market. So go back, take a look at what their calls were historically, look for analysis that backed it up, and if they have a track record, consider them credible.
And I would also say start with the basics, learn the definitions, research what's a smart contract, what is a token, just kind of get a distributed ledger, start to familiarize yourself with all these terms that we're going to use in the future or in the current.
Cryptocurrency, crypto, ICO, FOMO, Lightning Network to the moon we go. Here's my Lambo, here you go. K-Block blockchain.